Welcome to SS2 Economics, Term 1, Week 4. Today we study the consumption function in depth, focusing on the marginal propensity to consume, MPC, and the marginal propensity to save, MPS. We introduced these concepts in Week 2 when studying Keynes's theory of income determination. Now we examine them more carefully, understand how they are calculated, how they differ across income groups and countries, and why they matter so much for economic policy. The consumption function is one of the most studied relationships in macroeconomics because consumption is the largest single component of aggregate demand, typically 60 to 70% of GDP in most countries, and even higher in low-income countries like Nigeria. The Keynesian consumption function is C equals A plus B times Y, where C is total consumption, Y is national income, or disposable income, is autonomous consumption, the amount consumed when income is zero, and B is the marginal propensity to consume, MPC. Example, if A equals 20,000 naira and B equals 0.75, then, when income Y equals 0, C equals 20,000. When Y equals 100,000, C equals 20,000 plus 0.75 times 100,000, which equals 95,000. When Y equals 200,000, C equals 20,000 plus 0.75 times 200,000, which equals 170,000. This function tells us that as income rises by 100,000 naira, consumption rises by 75,000 naira, the MPC is 0.75. Plotting consumption against income on a graph gives a straight upward sloping line, starting at A above the origin if A is positive, with slope B. The 45-degree line represents all points where consumption equals income, zero savings. Where the consumption line lies above the 45-degree line, consumption exceeds income, the household is dissaving, spending savings or borrowing. Where the consumption line lies below the 45-degree line, income exceeds consumption, the household is saving. The break-even income level is the income at which consumption exactly equals income and savings are zero. There are two important consumption ratios. The marginal propensity to consume, MPC, measures the change in consumption per unit change in income. MPC equals change in C divided by change in Y. It is the slope of the consumption function. For the linear consumption function C equals A plus by, MPC equals B, which is constant at all income levels. The average propensity to consume, APC, measures the fraction of total income spent on consumption. APC equals C divided by Y. For the linear consumption function, APC equals A plus by divided by Y, which equals A divided by Y plus B. As Y increases, A divided by Y falls, the autonomous component becomes a smaller proportion of income, so APC declines as income rises. This means that higher-income households spend a smaller proportion of their income on consumption and save a larger proportion. This is Keynes's fundamental psychological law: as income rises, people save a higher fraction of it. Empirically, this is confirmed. Subsistence farmers in rural Nigeria with very low incomes may consume essentially all of their income, APC close to 1 or even above 1 when dissaving, while wealthy urban Nigerians save a significant share. The MPC for low-income Nigerian households is estimated to be as high as 0.95 to 0.98. The savings function is derived directly from the consumption function. Since income equals consumption plus savings, Y equals C plus S, therefore S equals Y minus C, substituting the consumption function, S equals Y minus A plus by equals Y minus A minus by equals minus A plus 1 minus B times Y. This is the savings function, S equals minus A plus SY, where S equals 1 minus B is the marginal propensity to save, MPS. MPS measures the change in savings per unit change in income. MPS equals change in S divided by change in Y equals 1 minus MPC. Since MPC plus MPS always equals 1, if MPC is 0.75, then MPS is 0.25. Example, if A equals 20,000 naira and S equals 0.25, when Y equals 0, S equals minus 20,000, the saving of 20,000 naira. When Y equals 80,000, S equals minus 20,000 plus 0.25 times 80,000 equals 0, this is the break-even income. When Y equals 200,000, S equals minus 20,000 plus 0.25 times 200,000 equals 30,000 naira saved. The average propensity to save, APS, equals S divided by Y, APC plus APS also always equals 1. Many factors determine consumption and saving beyond current income. First, wealth. Households with large savings, property, or investments feel wealthier and consume more out of current income. This is the wealth effect. Second, expected future income. If households expect their income to rise, for example, a university student expecting a well-paying job, they borrow to consume now, raising current consumption relative to current income. Third, price level. When prices rise, inflation, real consumption falls even if nominal income is unchanged. Fourth, interest rates. High interest rates encourage saving, the reward for saving is higher, and discourage borrowing for consumption. In Nigeria, high bank interest rates reduce household borrowing for consumption. Fifth, consumer confidence. During uncertainty, recessions, insecurity, political instability, households cut consumption and increase precautionary saving even if income is unchanged. This is particularly evident in Nigeria during economic and security crises. Sixth, income distribution. A redistribution of income from rich to poor raises total consumption, because poor households have a higher MPC than rich households. This is one reason why social safety net programs can stimulate the economy. To summarize, the consumption function is C equals A plus by, where A is autonomous consumption and B is the MPC. MPC equals change in C divided by change in Y, the slope of the consumption function. APC equals C divided by Y, declining as income rises. MPS equals 1 minus MPC. MPS equals change in S divided by change in Y, APS equals S divided by Y, MPC plus MPS equals 1. APC plus APS equals 1. The savings function is S equals minus A plus 1 minus MPC times Y. The break-even income is where consumption equals income and savings are 0, Y equals A divided by MPS. Factors affecting consumption: wealth, expected income, price level, interest rates, consumer confidence, income distribution. For WAEC, define and calculate MPC, MPS, APC, and APS from given data, draw the consumption and savings functions, find the break-even income, explain factors affecting consumption and saving. These are very commonly examined topics.